transformation of education system. So she has provided us a platform to exchange our, you can say, knowledge, whatever, because it is being implemented for last couple of years. So all learned participants are also well acquainted and they have got their own experiences and knowledge also about this. So let us be thankful to her. Let us pay our rich tribute to Rashtrasant Tukdoji Maharaj, under whose name our esteemed university Santa Rashtrasant Tukdoji Maharaj Nagpur University Nagpur stands for. I am thankful to management and principals of both the colleges who have shown initiatives and got affiliated association for this program, along with UGC's MMMTC Center of Nagpur University. So let us be thankful to Vice Chancellor, Pro Vice Chancellor, Registrar, then Director of UGC MMTC of Rashtrasant Tukdoji Maharaj also. So as rightly said by ma'am, we have got a long session of almost 3 hours. So with the permission of madam, let us have this in two parts. One part of about 1.5 hours, then we will take 5 minutes tea break, and then we will have another session after that. My request is, let us try to make this session interactive. It's not that I only speak, but at some time, many of the participants may have better understanding of some of the fundamental concepts during their implementation at their own institutes and university. So whenever you feel that something more you can add, please feel free. I also will get benefit out of it along with all learned participants. Of course, question answers need not only be at the end, they will be definitely at the end. But when the discussion goes on, that time also some clarifications is required. Please feel free. Last but not the least, if you find I am unnecessarily stretching some point which is known to everybody, please bring it to my notice so that I can correct myself also. So with this note, all of us are on same platform and we are on the process of interaction and exchange. So with this note, let us begin. Now our first part, we will have in two sessions, and first we will understand fundamental concepts which are envisioned in this policy. Why we should understand these things? Because once we understand the spirit, what is the fundamental concept as envisioned in this policy, then when it comes to implementation, many of the doubts presently what we feel, why such things, how it will happen. So automatically those get, you can say, clarified once we accept and we say that yes, the fundamental principle is correct. So actions will automatically will be smooth so that we synchronize with the concepts. So first part we will have all what was the journey in few minutes, what are the pillars, what are the observations of Dr. Kasturi Rangan sir's survey and their committee draft committee report, on which complete policy then later on is stands on it, and then we are implementing it. And then, as madam has rightly said, there are certain reforms in this policy. So we will try to concentrate on those things which are slightly new to us and which are essentially to be implemented, such as what cornerstones are given in clause 12 of this. As an individual teacher, that is the clause which is really I have to implement at my own level, whether university says anything or government says or GR says or irrespective of anything. Clause 12 is applicable to individual teacher. So we will try to understand provisions of that. Experiential learning, complete education is now getting oriented towards experiential learning and experiences to be brought in the classroom. So what provisions have been made, what instruments? And finally, all of us will be working under some common framework, whether we are located at X university or Y in X state or Y state. Nationally, everybody, all those in higher education will be governed under one umbrella. So we should understand provisions of those national level umbrellas and how it will be implemented. And finally, In one line, if we say what transformation this policy is going to bring, so there are only two things of that, you can say, to summarize everything. One, we are moving towards
Mana
level
आपली
based
पापू आहे ना
competencies
मी आणि यांची आपले
and
पापू
level based competency based qualification system. Second thing, everything will be towards outcome based. So, outcome based education and level based competency based qualifications is the summary of complete NEP, which at higher level we will have to implement. So, we will try to understand those concepts. So, with the permission of Madam, let us start our interaction by understanding what fundamental things are given for this policy. So expected,
Sir,
hello,
screen sharing has stopped, sir.
just a minute, huh? Yeah, just
Sir, again do the same steps.
okay, just a minute. Should I go to slideshow
Yes.
and from beginning? Is it okay?
Move that upward arrow, sir.
Acha, that part. Okay, yeah. Upward arrow, I don't find it. Just a minute. Huh?
जस्ट
Yes.
आताच सर स्टॉप झाला आहे.
Oh, okay, just sorry, huh?
नाही नाही काही हरकत नाही सर.
Yeah.
अपवर्ड ॲरोवर गेल्यावर आता कदाचित तुम्हाला तुमचं पीपीटी विजिबल असेल सर.
हो.
त्याला मिनिमाइज करा एस्केप करून आणि
येस.
गुगल मीटची स्क्रीन आपल्या क्रोमचं खाली मिनिमाइज झालं असेल किंवा गुगल मीट.
आता दिसतंय मॅडम?
सर नाही अजून नाही.
नाही का? बरं, एक मिनिट. तू पूर्ण क्लोज करू का मी?
मिनिमाइज केलं का सर पीपीटी?
मिनिमाइज केलं. येस.
आता गुगल मीटची स्क्रीन मॅक्सिमाइज करा
हो.
सर.
अच्छा. एंटायर स्क्रीन करू. शेअर करतोय तुम्ही.
हां हां येस येस येस.
येस.
आता दिसतंय सर. खालचं पीपीटी ओपन कराल सर. देन स्लाइड शो फ्रॉम
आणि
बिगिनिंग.
फ्रॉम द या.
हां
इज इट
आता
विजिबल?
स्लाइड एकदा चेंज करून बघाल सर.
या. आला?
येस येस इट्स वर्किंग.
ओके. Extremely sorry for the
नाही सर काही
interruption.
हरकत नाही सर.
And thank you, madam, for your really support. You are a great support to a resource person. Let me very frankly admit always. So, friends, when we say that we are implementing NEP, one thing, please keep it in mind for whether you are conducting your 1 hour lecture, 2 hours practical, any training, any field work, any internship, whatever domain we are working with, whatever verticals we are working with, whether it is training program, whether it is my regular class, anything. When we say we are going as per NEP means, first thing, before every session, we have to very clearly specify what is the expected learning outcome of that session. Now, it can be my 1 hour class or session like this 3 hours or any part of it. So, first thing, spell out very clearly expected outcome. Let the learner and the facilitator both are very clear about expected outcome. Then have the process, and at the end, so have small assessment to check whether expected learning outcomes are attained or not. And this has to be practiced throughout our academic or otherwise sessions also. This is what is we mean that we are implementing NEP. So accordingly, let us be clear about expected learning outcome of our this part one of our this session. After this session, all learned participants will be able to understand what are the pillars of NEP on which complete policy rests, and at the time of implementation, we have to connect with either of the pillars of this policy. Then in this policy, very clearly what do we mean by education, because we are education providers and learners are education seekers. But what do we mean by exactly education? What transpires when we say that education is given or taken? So those things are very clearly mentioned in this policy. So in this session, we will understand what is the concept of education as per policy. Second question is what for education? Why should we give education? Why should students take education? Those things are also clearly mentioned. So it clearly gives mandate to us also. So aims of education and concept and aim talks about three domains when we say what is education. So what are those domains? And this policy strongly recommends integration of various types of education. So unless we understand types of education, while implementation, its integration will be difficult if we do not know what are the types expected in this policy. So in this session, all of us will understand these pillars, concept, aims, domains, and types of education. So when we go into this national education policy, within 2 minutes, I will try to explain how this policy is different than earlier our policies. After independence, we had Radhakrishnan Commission, Kothari Commission, Yashpal Commission. So from time to time, as per the need, India had education experts, their drafts, their recommendations, and then its implementation as a policy. Our last policy was implemented in somewhere 1985-86. The journey of this NEP 2020 started from the very year when our last policy was implemented. In the form, India became signatory of Washington Accord and first time in higher education sector and particularly in professional technical education sector, the concept something like global benchmarks, measurable parameters, audit, certifications of and quality assurance, and equivalency of degrees of various programs of the countries who are signatory of Washington. Such things came into existence. So concept of quality, parameters, measurement, that came somewhere in 1986-87 through Washington Accord. And you will find quality of higher education is one of the milestone, important pillar of this policy. Then somewhere in 1992, India officially accepted liberalization, privatization, and globalization. You will find globalization of Indian education, alignment with international standard is another mandate of this policy. Then in 1997, the Brundtland Committee report came in UNO, and that report was our common future, and that all 173 countries that time had accepted the concept of sustainability development. Later on, when that was accepted in 2003, 2004, say Johannesburg Declaration and Bonds Declaration came, in which the implementation of sustainability, concept of sustainability development, and attainment of sustainability development goals, 17 goals, that onus was kept on the shoulder of higher education and technical education. Then IT revolution came. So you will find since 1985 to almost 2013-14, whatever national and international important mandates came or events happened or agreements, national and international commitments in the form of agreements came, all those have been included in this policy. So in nutshell, this
मला एक
policy
खटपटच आहे
is
याची.
a
पुढच्या रोज
evolved.
हे असं चालू करा, बसा, महत्व अटेंडन्स द्या.
Abhay sir, can you please mute your
लेक्चर मध्ये
mic,
राहते,
please?
काही राहते, काही.
Abhay sir, can you please mute your mic? Yeah. So this is how this national education policy is a evolved document. So that we have to understand. Now, when this draft was submitted and finally it resulted into policy, I will draw your attention towards clause 9.2 and 9.3. Those are the fundamental, you can say, things we should keep in mind for today's discussion. What clause 9.2 says of this policy? So Dr. Kasturi Rangan sir's committee has pointed out many major problems which were currently faced by higher education system of India. And to overcome those problems are the recommendations of those policy. So out of many problems, there are three important or major problems we should give attention. One was severely fragmented higher educational ecosystem. So strongest recommendation of the committee and then this policy is to remove this silos like system. Earlier, science, commerce, arts, or engineering, all streams were you applied in isolation. कॉमर्सचा काही सायन्सशी संबंध नव्हता, सायन्सचा आर्ट्सशी नव्हता, इंजिनिअरिंग कॉलेजेस सगळे स्टँड अलोन होते. बट the draft and policy says that is something has hampered badly to Indian education system. So to overcome fragmentation and to make multidisciplinary education is one of the recommendation. Second problem identified by committee was less emphasis on development of cognitive skills and learning outcomes. So earlier our education was more towards academic education. That is, focus was on one knowledge domain, information domain. But 21st century skills and behavior, they were also found to be important part of education for a complete and real, when the person lives the real life. It's not only knowledge or you can see information, but application of knowledge, that too value based living. So those are equally important. Attitude, motivation, that is why that was not a part of higher education system. So this policy gives a lot of weightage on 21st century skilling, experiential learning, bringing experiences in the classroom, and simultaneously constitutional values, human values, dispositions, and attitude and behavioral development. So this thing we have to keep in mind why curriculum and so many verticals have been brought. Third major problem identified was rigid separation of disciplines and early specialization and streaming of students into narrow areas of study. That is found to be a major problem. That is why this policy says there should not be a rigid separation, there should be flexibility, and early specialization and narrow area of studies should be overcome. So these are the three major problems along with other problems, and these are relevant for our today's discussion on reforms which are brought through policy. To overcome these problems of we mentioned in clause 9.2, the vision given in 9.3 relates to overcoming these problems. What does this say? That moving towards a higher education system consisting of multidisciplinary colleges and universities. We know even IITs has started now science courses, etc., even humanities courses also. So standalone education, single monodisciplinary colleges and universities, those will slowly get converted into multidisciplinary. That is why our curriculum syllabus now had been converted into a multidisciplinary. Reason is very obvious. The single discipline they have found it as a negative point of the system. Then medium of instruction should be local or Indian languages. That is what is the second recommendation. त्यांनी असं लक्षात आणून दिलं की इंग्लिश फक्त जर भाषा घेतली अनेक वेळा समजतं पण एक्सप्रेस करता येत नाही. त्याच्यामुळे केवळ एकाच भाषेमध्ये टेक्निकल एज्युकेशन, विज्ञानाचं एज्युकेशन सुद्धा ठेवण्यात अर्थ नाही. सो देअर शुड बी मोर यूज ऑफ लोकल लँग्वेज, इंडियन लँग्वेजेस. म्हणून आपण आजचं सेशनही कधी थोडंसं हिंदीत, काही मराठीत आणि मेजॉरिटी इंग्लिश असं आपण करतोय, बिकॉज दॅट इज द रिकमेंडेशन ऑफ दिस पॉलिसी. नंतर Moving towards multidisciplinary undergraduate education हे फार महत्वाचं रिकमेंडेशन दिलेलं आहे. म्हणून आपलं जे आता करिक्युलम येत आहे किंवा इन्स्ट्रुमेंट जे आले त्याच्यामध्ये पूर्णपणे मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी, म्हणून मग मेजर मायनर आले आहे, ओपन इलेक्टिव्ह झालेले आहेत की व्हेरियस इंटरेस्टनुसार विद्यार्थी शिकला पाहिजे. फक्त एकाच डिसिप्लिन मध्ये शिक्षण नको, विशेषतः अंडर ग्रॅज्युएट एज्युकेशन. आणि शेवटचं आपल्यासाठी 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 जे महत्वाचं आहे आजच्या डिस्कशनला, ते महत्वाचं पॉलिसी मॅटर आहे. रिवॅम्पिंग करिक्युलम म्हणजे अप्रोप्रिएट करिक्युलम, आणि त्या अप्रोप्रिएट करिक्युलम नुसार न्यू टीचिंग स्ट्रॅटेजीज, न्यू टीचिंग मेथड्स, न्यू IT एनेबल्ड यू कॅन से टीचिंग. सो पेडागॉगीज मध्ये पूर्ण रिवॅम्प करायचं आहे. थर्ड इज असेसमेंट. देअर इज अ क्लिअर डिफरन्स बिटवीन असेसमेंट, एक्झामिनेशन अँड इव्हॅल्युएशन. फॉर्मेटिव्ह असेसमेंट करा, समेटिव्ह कडे जास्त देऊ नका. एंड हायस्टेक एक्झामिनेशनचा भार कमी करा. सो दोज आर द recommendation, strong recommendation. So we have to modify our assessment system. We have to move towards formative assessment and give less weightage on high-stake exam system. And for everything, student support is to be provided. हे मी 4 पॉइंट का घेतले, कारण now whenever next accreditation will come, whenever our audit will be there, let it be NAC or NBA, for a individual teacher, त्यांच्याकडचं काय त्यांचं कोर्स फाईल मेन पाहायला पाहिजे. तर करिक्युलम, अप्रोप्रिएटनेस, विद्यापीठाने जरी दिलं असलं तरी इंडिव्हिज्युअल टीचर त्याच्यात काय ऍड करतोय, व्हॉट फ्लेवर इज मोर ऍडेड, मॅपिंग विथ करिक्युलमच्या व्हर्टिकलनुसार व्हॉट डिफरंट स्ट्रॅटेजीज, व्हॉट डिफरंट टेक्नॉलॉजीज, व्हॉट डिफरंट पेडागॉगीज आर बिईंग यूज बाय टीचर, असेसमेंटमध्ये काय रिफॉर्म्स आणले आहे, आणि या सगळ्याला आपण स्टुडंट सपोर्ट इंडिव्हिज्युअली कसं देतो, हे मेन अकॅडमिक रिफॉर्म येणार आहे इंडिव्हिज्युअल टीचर बेस्डवर. त्याच्यामुळे हे जर आपण त्यांनी काढलेले हे बघितले, व्हॉट आर द मेजर प्रॉब्लेम्स ऑफ प्रेझेंट एज्युकेशन सिस्टम अँड व्हॉट इज एक्सपेक्टेड इन पॉलिसी, then you will find the whole policy is based on 5 pillars. Access. The first thing, again, they have found that in India, gross enrollment ratio for higher education is less than 25. What does it mean? If 100 students pass HSCC 12th or equivalent examination, less than 25 of them enroll or register for university level education system. So to increase that GER from 25 to 50 before 2035, many provisions are given to increase access. Why should we know this pillar? Because those who are concerned with admission, you will find that earlier 12th standard HSSC science, they only used to come to science or engineering. Now we are moving towards level-based education. So a student who has attained level 4, that is equivalent to 12, may be able to come to any of the streams of higher education. So probably early specialization at 10th standard into science student, commerce student, art students, MCVC student, that type of early bifurcations will stop, and student will come out with bucket of courses at 12th. Some student who have not done formal 11 12, but after completing 10th have achieved level of 4, can also come to university. Even students who have done up to 8, because right to education up to age of 14 will be mandatory schooling. But after that, no formal 9, 10th, 11, 12, but through vocation, through vocational education, the student shows attainment of level 4. After recognizing the prior learning, student will be able to come to university level education. So there will be multiple entries. There will be level-based entry. That is why the framework of qualification, say national vocational qualification, national skill qualification, national higher education qualification. So that network is made and that instrument is available. So what is the takeaway? Now access to university level education system is through multi-entry systems, through all various streams. A student who completes level 4 will be able to come to university level education system. So we have to keep, when we do our admission policies, etc., we have to keep in mind it's not only 12th standard, you can say science who can come to now science stream, but there will be many other streams through which student can enter into first year of the university education. Second important, you can say pillar is equity. Equity means same quantity and quality of learning resources should be made available to the student irrespective of the strata, location, anything. For that, IT enabled education is highly, you can say, promoted. So students will be allowed to get almost 40% of total credits required for any graduation through platforms like Swayam. So on such, those will be presently Swayam is recognized. Tomorrow, many more. Mahaswayam is coming at state level. Probably many universities will have their own, you can say, open education platform. A student can learn through online, through experiential, through flipped mode, through classroom learning. So irrespective of what is the mode of learning, what will be important is attainment of outcome rather than mode of learning. And to ensure that same quantity and quality of learning resources are available, the lot many platforms will be made available, videos will be made available, so that a student of any, whether it is rural, tribal, metro, city, wherever the student is located, in whatever institute the student may be learning, the student has got right to get educated with same quality and quantity of learning resources. For that, many provisions are done to ensure equity. Quality, I told you that we are signatory of Washington Accord. So global standards, international benchmarks, measurable parameters, audit, and quality assurance, and then certifications. That is how the equivalency of program, that type of, you can say, method, which is already there in the form of NAC and NB, that will further be strengthened. So what are the quality parameters? What are the outcomes? What are the measurable things? How those are mapped with each other? Everybody of us will have to be aware of this. So what are the parameters? What do we mean by education? What do we mean by higher education? For each of the domain, what are the levels? For each level, what are the attributes? What are the expected outcome? And how to ensure through pedagogies and assessment. So this will be the method which will come when it comes to ensuring the quality. Affordability, India, we know heterogeneous country, so many provisions. So that one line, that nobody should get deprived of quality education for want of affordability. So for that, many provisions are being done. And final is accountability. So even though many instruments have not come for accountability, but mandate is clear. Expectations of education providers and learners are very clearly given. Benchmarks are given. Now, if those mandates are not met, if those outcomes are not attained, then who will be accountable? So, for that, even though accountability is not yet fixed, but mandates and expected outcomes are very clearly given. And at this stage, we, the teachers, must understand what is mandate given to us, what is the outcome expected out of us, and how benchmarks are given, and how we have to make up ourselves to map with those all parameters, Else, at some later point, somebody will be held accountable of not attaining those expected parameters or outcomes. So these are the important pillars. Why we should know these pillars? Because whatever we are implementing and we will be implementing, it will get connected with either of these processes. Now let us enter into the policy relevant for our today's discussion. As I told in the beginning, this is the policy in which very clearly few concepts are made clear. What are those? We are in the field of education. We are education providers, and our students or learners are education seekers. But in this policy, what is that exactly should happen when we say that education is being given and being taken? So, what is education? That is very clearly specified. So, when we will facilitate that process, we have to keep in mind how education is defined in this policy. Second thing very clearly given is purpose of education, why the education provider should provide education, whatever how it is defined, and why learners should seek education. So that is also very clearly given. So that is a sort of mandate. That is the purpose of our existence because we are in the field of education. Then, when it is defined what is education, you will find education is in three domains. So, what are those domains? And each domain is having level. Whole education system is getting transformed into level based education. And in each of the domain, for each level, there are expected, you can say, benchmarks for each level of each domain. So we should understand it, because when we say we are in first year, we must know what level we are talking about. And corresponding to that level, in each domain, what is expected, to what extent knowledge is to be given, to what extent skill is to be given, to what extent behavioral aspects are to be developed. So those are related with these fundamentals. And finally, this policy strongly recommends integration, because isolation, silos, it is to be removed. So integration is to be done, and integration they talk about
पुन्हा आहे आमच्याकडे
integration of various types. So unless we know what are types, how we will integrate? So let us try to
अरे पाऊस
understand
येतोय
this
का तो
concept of the
प्लेसमेंट वातावरण
policy.
नाहीये.
Now, these policymakers have studied the concept and definition of education throughout the world. They talk about Socrates, Aristotle, Plato, all Western
ते मोठं
thinkers,
रडलं का शाळेत
to
जाताना?
our Indian thinkers, Radhakrishnan, Swami Vivekananda. And finally, the definition of education given in this policy takes care of everything, and it is more nearer to how Swami Vivekananda has defined it. But if you see what Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, or Indian
कुठे
thinkers,
आहे
Eastern
म्हणतात
thinkers, they
मला
are,
तू काय
so it
दिसतोय.
takes care of everybody's view. Now understand this definition. It says that it is manifestation. Education is manifestation. So we help that manifestation. So our role becomes a facilitator. Manifestation of what? Divine perfection already existing in an individual. So first thing, keep attention on the word individual. The major change is, earlier we used to talk about group of student, class of student. So our education system was something like military-like concept education. There is some battalion, there is some regiment. So regiment of science, arts, commerce, engineering, battalion of division A, division B, division B. And we used to call it uniform. So even uniform, physical uniform was also put on the student to make them look like uniform. And group uniformity, and whatever one single teacher teaches, everybody receives it uniformly. That was the concept. But now this policy talks about individuals learning, personalized learning. So basic difference that all group is same and uniform. Now it is dismantled. Every individual is unique and special. That is the first fundamental concept about learner. So every learner is different. Every learner has got special interest, special passion, special attributes which are inherently, they call it the word divine. So right from the birth, those qualities are there in every individual. And what is then education? Identify those qualities, identify those attributes, and help student to manifest those already existing attributes. Took me as a teacher. So exactly as a teacher, what I have to do? I have to help student to identify what are the specialities, what are the interest area, for in which area the student has got passion, what are the special attributes as an individual that learner is. So we have to help student to know thyself, as well as we as a teacher should know who am I, what are my passions, my interests, and they, if they get synchronized, and then help that student to know himself or herself, and then help that student to manifest those things in those areas of interest, those areas of passion, in terms of advanced knowledge, in terms of 21st century skills, in terms of values, ethics, dispositions, motivations, and behavior. So, this is what is the education. So, immediately my role before NEP and after NEP, there is a great change in my role as a teacher. Earlier, I was a preacher because I teach students learn was my philosophy. And what I teach is received by everybody in the class in a group. That was my presumption. But when we say I am implementing NEP, first thing I have to understand, I am no more a preacher. I am a facilitator. My whole group is not uniform. Every individual is a different. So somebody may learn from some good other sources, somebody may have interest in some areas. So I have to provide him various options as per the interest. And my role is to know my student, know my subject, and manifest according to the interest, passions, and make out a person out of that learner. And what do we mean by education? Education means threefold: knowledge of that interest area, 21st century skills related to very high level skills related to those interest, passion, attribute area, and development of right attitude. So very clearly I know that education means I have to have three domains. And as a teacher, my role is more of a facilitator and than a preacher. Now, once education is clearly defined, second, very clearly defined is purpose. Why students should take education and why we should provide education. It is the fundamental questions to our existence as a educator. Let it be university, let it be college, let it be individual teacher. Our existence is not only to give cognitive development, knowledge development, but character building and imbibing 21st century skills. And mandate given to us. See, now see the fifth pillar of accountability. Mandate given to we, the education provider, is we must, the word must is used, we must prepare for more meaningful and satisfying lives. Complete futuristic view is there. So when audit will take place, they may take survey of our alumni and they will check whether our students are leading अर्थपूर्ण, काही उद्देशपूर्ण आणि सुखी जीवन जगत असतील आपले alumni, then we have done our job. Second thing, we have to prepare for their future work roles. विद्यार्थी आज माझ्याकडे फर्स्ट इयरला आला तरी माझी दृष्टी, आई हैव टू कीप आई आफ्टर 6-7 years, जब मेरा स्टूडेंट इकोनॉमिक फील्ड में जाएगा, आज मैं फिजिक्स पढ़ा रहा हूँ तो मुझे ध्यान में रखना पड़ेगा कि फिजिक्स उसके लाइफ में वो टीचर हो सकता है, वो प्रोफेसर हो सकता है, वो रिसर्चर्स हो सकता है, वो कोई लेबोरेटरी में जा सकता है. सो व्हाट आर डिफरेंट एवेन्यूज in the discipline of what I am presently imparting education, and I have to ensure that student is prepared for future role whatever a student is expected to perform when the student goes to economic life. Again, come to the fifth pillar of accountability. They may take survey of our alumni, and they may check whether the students who are working in any of the environment, some of them may become teachers, some of them become researchers, some of them become, you can say, managers, some of them become maybe in quality, some may go to manufacturing, some may go to marketing. So what are possible areas from my subject? So whether whatever they are performing, those requirements are met when they were student with me in the college itself or not. That is how their future is now linked with our present education. Again, I emphasize the word must is there. And third is we have to prepare student to enable for their economic independence. Now mandate is very clear to be the education provider. So our curriculum, our all transaction should ultimately lead to these three things as far as our students are concerned. So when people say we are going for learner centric, what is the meaning of learner centric? We have to prepare student for these three things, and that is the purpose of our existence. If we are not able to do, question will come, why do you exist then? This is the mandate given to us. Now, as we know, we are in the field of education means we have to give inputs in three domains. That is what comes. These three domains mean education. So let it be first year syllabus, second year, third year, whatever may be. It must have these three components. There must be cognitive component, there must be psychomotor component, and there must be affective component. Then only it will be known as we are imparting education. What is cognitive domain? Cognitive domain is the knowledge domain, information domain. There are two components again. One is descriptive knowledge, other is procedural knowledge. So all our theory subject, we have to ensure these both components are in present in curriculum, in syllabus, in our teaching the syllabus, and in our assessing and examining the student. One is descriptive, that is knowing that, such as theories, concept, principle, laws. Now only change will be along with giving all these theoretical, conceptual, principle laws. We have to develop students' critical ability to reason out why these facts are true, why these theories are true, why these concepts are true. So that type of orientation will be required. And second is procedural knowledge, that is knowing how. So in our theory subject, we should have two things, descriptive component and procedural component. And as I was saying, we are moving towards level-based system. So as per Bloom's taxonomy, this cognitive domain also has 6 stages. First stage is memorizing or recalling previously learned material. Say in school days, Padheman, Kavitaman, recite the poem, all those things, or state the law, state the units. So those label something. So those which are based on memory, recalling something, that is the lowest level. In higher education, least emphasis should be given on memory based assessment or memory based education. Second level is understanding. So whatever it is the grasping of the meaning of material and explaining the ideas and concept. Only memorizing is not sufficient. Understanding is important. But understanding, is it sufficient? No. आपण वर्गामध्ये समजलं का, हॅव यू अंडरस्टूड, दिस टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चन्स वी ऑलवेज आस्क. But as per Bloom's taxonomy of cognitive domain, even understanding is also lower level. म्हणजे माझं फर्स्ट इयरचं सिलेबस जर असेल त्याच्यात मी अंडरस्टँडिंग वर थोडंसं एक्सप्लेन कन्सेप्ट आयडियाज सो डिस्क्राईब सच टाईप ऑफ थिंग विल बी परमिसिबल. But that is also lower level in higher education. Next is application. Whatever you have remembered, whatever you are understood, you should be able to use it in new and concrete situations. So that is the, you can say, foundation level for our higher education. So our higher second year, third year, fourth year syllabi should more be based on application, analysis, evaluation, and finally synthesis. So PG, PhD will be more talking about synthesis, formulating new structure, using existing knowledge and skills. But our higher levels, you can say what presently I will call year, but later on we will use the word level. That should be more based on application, analysis, and evaluation. That is the clear mandate. And when accreditation will come, they will check if I am a teaching first year subject or third year subject. According to that, my level will be checked and assessment will also be checked. So all of us should be very much aware while framing curriculum, syllabi, and delivering an assessment that even knowledge domain has got 6 levels. And for higher education, minimum emphasis the thrust on memorizing, little bit on understanding, but more on application analysis and evaluation. And accordingly, you will find that assessment will also change. So we should be aware of different assessment techniques. We should be very clear about difference between assessment, formative assessment, summative assessment, examinations, high stake examinations, evaluations, and depending upon the level, what type of right assessment strategy is there. Sometimes it will be continuous assessment, mostly it should be formative, sometimes it will be fixed hour, sometimes it will be some minor micro or mini project, sometimes it will be on rubrics based, sometimes it will be on criteria based. All of us should be completely aware of various assessment technique, tools, strategies, and for which level which is most appropriate, that has to be implemented by individual teacher, and that is what will be our accreditation in our next cycle. Now second domain will be skills domain. Mandate is we have to provide 21st century skills. So for that, two words we have to be very clear. One is capacity or skill, and second is competencies. I repeat, we are orienting towards level-based, competency-based qualifications. So what level we are there and what competencies are expected, and we have to ensure that ultimate learning outcome shows attainment of those competencies, then only student will be qualified for a certain qualification. So what are those? Again, there are 7 stages of this domain also, psychomotor, which is doing or skilling domain. Get, set, go, maybe for school, perception, set, and guided response. My first year practicals probably maybe something where imitation and practicing skills in a discrete step I can give. Okay, I will give the instrument, I will give the process, I will demonstrate how to perform, and I will expect student to master those skills which are already demonstrated. But that is the lower level that will be applicable for at the most first year, that is first or second semester. But as we go ahead, mechanism, complete overt response, adoption, and finally organization for PG, PhD, creating new patterns, that type of level-based skilling will be required when we say that we implement NAP. And that has to be clearly shown in our curriculum, syllabus, in our using it, applying this level-based skilling, and students attending level-based competency. From guided response to organization, we have to understand what is expected, and our practicals, our industrial visits, our mini project should ensure attainment of levels, whatever expected in psychomotor domain, in skilling or doing domain also. Last domain is values and disposition. NEP strongly believes that the strong motivation is required in addition to knowledge and capacity for effective action. We know many times that person is highly knowledgeable, the capacities, skills are tremendous, but outcome is not there because no action that fellows does. In our teaching faculty also we know that that teacher is very knowledgeable, very capacity, but even in accreditation that fellow does not help. Even in students say that knowledge teacher खूप knowledgeable आहे पण शिकवत नाही चांगले आहे. NEP has identified that gap and they say that it is lack of motivation, and motivation comes from values and dispositions. So, inculcating values and dispositions so that they are the sources of motivation for effective action. Now, that responsibility is also given to the education provider. So, provide knowledge, give skills, and develop their behavior and attitude so that they come out as a motivated for effective action. So these three things are expected from we the educator in NEP, and we have to be ready for that. Now this domain is also having 5 levels, from simply attending certain stimuli to integrating value into the system. So our first year, second year, third year, fourth year, that value related domain activities, courses, you can say whatever festivals we do, whatever we do in this domain, so social engagement we do, first year should very clearly validate that the students we are providing that they attend whatever is stimuli given. As against final year student, we should be able to show that our students are able to integrate the values into new system. Let it be physical age or let it be cyber age. So in both the spaces, the student are able to inculcate value systems. That is what is expected by final year. While in first year, adopting the values and following the values, but that should be reflected. We should be able to validate that yes, these are what we have done, this is what students have shown. But even this value and dispositions, remember it is also level based and there are 5 stages. Now final mandate or of our first part is integration of various types of education. Education in isolation, education in silo system is denounced very much in this policy. And what is envisioned is integrated type of education, not education in isolation. So for that, we should understand in the presently, there are generally we can say 4 types of education. One type of education which is focused on only information and knowledge, what is commonly known as academic education. And most of our higher education was earlier academic education, mainly focusing on knowledge, information. And we are expert in providing that. Absolutely nobody can deny. And we have bifurcated second as vocational education. And we always undervalued vocational education. काही जमत नाही का 12वीला तू MCVC घे, काही जमत नाही का मॅथ्स तू ITI ला जा, तू डिप्लोमा कर. So this was our type of you can say mindset towards vocational education. What is vocational education? We keep certain area of economy in mind and we prepare that student that particular area, welder, fitter, electrician. Then we will take certain vocations, a very small sphere like only mechanical engineering in diploma level, and we will prepare students only for those. So, and we had completely isolated vocational education from academic education. But in NEP now, it will be integrated form. That is why vocational education component VSEC, vocational skill enhancement courses, have been made mandatory part of every course. Let it be commerce, arts, humanities, engineering. Similarly, other forms is professional education and technical education. Now, NEP expects all these components of some part of each type of education into every education, let it be commerce, humanities, science, engineering. It should have some humanities component, it should have some vocational component, it should have experiential learning component, it should have some you can say academic, major academic component, and all those things in an integrated form will now lead to a higher education. That is why we find there are 6, 7 verticals mandatory for each. So after this first part of our first session, as per NEP, we had specified what were our learning outcome expected. Friends, let us check whether those learning outcomes are attained by us or not. Let us slightly recap. So, dear participants, do we remember what are those pillars of NEP on which complete policy is based? Maybe access, equity, quality, affordability, accountability. So those are the pillars, and whatever we ultimately implement will get related with one of it. We know from where those pillars came. That committee has pointed out various problems in present system, and to overcome those problems they have recommended certain, you can say, concrete suggestions or recommendations given. Together, problem with solution forms the pillar, where we know in the policy what is education, that is very clearly given. So it is about manifestation, it is about personalized divine perfections. So our role gets changed from preacher to a facilitator. Now we have to know our student, we have to help student to know themselves, find out their inner attributes, and then provide knowledge, skills, and behavioral aspects in those areas of interest of that individual. That is what has become now education. And mandate, what is the mandate given to us? Prepare students for their happy and uddesha purna jivan, prepare students for their future job roles, and enable students for economic independence. This is what is the mandate given to we, the education provider, and that is the purpose of our existence. Probably tomorrow we may be held accountable for those three things for which we have been given mandate. We know the domains: cognitive domain, psychomotor domain, affective domain, and for each domain we know there are levels, because we are moving towards level based competencies. We know various types: academic type, then vocational type, professional type, technical education, and NEP will be integration of all these types. I hope our learning outcomes expected was very clearly specified, and we have tried to check whether those outcomes have been attained or not. Let us wait for half a minute. If anybody wants to supplement by their own knowledge or anything they want to know more from me for this part, else we will go to part 2 of our session 1. Only we will wait for half a minute. Okay, I hope nobody wants to add or nobody wants to know. Okay, later on also we will have our question answer session. Now second part of our first session is clause 12. Why I have only chosen this clause 12 only? Because this clause 12 really gives what we as an individual teacher is expected to perform in terms of NEP, or in what way we will be accountable, in what way when next NAC or NBA will come from individual teacher, possibly what they will expect from individual teacher. Now for this, no direction much from university, no from government, no GR, no, those things are completely in the area of individual teacher, and we are expected to do, we have to implement clause 12 for we, the individual teacher. So in this part, two things we will see. What is the cornerstones, four cornerstones of quality learning, and more emphasis we will go give about experiential learning, because that is what is something new when we are implementing NEP than our earlier things. As usual, our expected learning outcome from this session will be, after this session, all learned participants will be understand the four cornerstones of quality learning, very important for all of us. And secondly, will all of us will be able to understand as well as will be able to implement the experiential learning, which is at the core of NEP implementation, such as community engagement, internship, apprenticeship, embedded degree programs, professors of practice, and skilling regulations, the instrument which come for experiential learning. These things will be our expected learning outcome. Now, if we see the clause 12 or article 12 of, you can say any people that as a policy, it clearly talks about four cornerstones of quality learning. What are those? First is appropriate curriculum. What do they mean by appropriate curriculum? Internationally relevant curricula. See, it is a journey from local to global through national. So curricula, they will check whether it is internationally relevant or not. It should have science, social science, and beyond that also. So engineering stream also should have sciences, social sciences in the curricula. There should be meaningful opportunity of social engagement, and ultimate aim will be of global quality standard. When we talk about global quality standard, there will be global benchmarks, there will be measurable parameters, there will be method of measurement of those measurable parameters comparing with global standards, and there will be process of audit and finally certification. So this all together will come to the word appropriate curriculum. Then second will be teaching strategies, teaching methodologies, and teaching tools. That is what they call in together as pedagogy, and it should be designed to ensure stimulating and engaging learning experiences for all students. So pedagogical focus will be learning experiences or experiential learning. So the clear focus is, rather than lecturing, engaging the students. So flipped learning, problem-based learning, peer learning, project-based learning, experiential learning, bringing experiences in the classroom. Those will be the strategies, tools, and techniques to be used depending upon what is the bit in our curriculum, what is the module, what is the unit, what is the expected outcome. Understanding those, we have to make various strategies, methods, and use various tools. Ultimately, what is important is engaging learning experiences for all. So we are moving towards more of experiential learning rather than rote learning. That is what is individual teacher has to do. Third is continuous assessment. We have to understand difference between assessment, examination, and evaluation. The policy states minimum thrust on high-stake examination, maximum focus on formative assessment than summative assessment. For assessment, depending upon the expected outcome, various strategies, tools, and techniques will have to be used to validate that students have shown, demonstrated the attainment of outcome. So we must know what are various tools, strategies of assessment, also what technology is available for assessment. What are what do we mean by rubrics based assessment? What do we mean by criteria based assessment? what are when it is useful formative assessment, when it is useful through problems, when it is useful through micro projects, how internship should be assessed, how apprenticeship should be assessed, how vocational component should be assessed. For every bit, every vertical, there will be different assessment, but continuous assessment is the mandate. And for all these things, what type of support is given to the student in terms of appropriate curriculum, pedagogy, and assessment? These are the cornerstones of quality learning. So when it comes to individual teacher, in my opinion, all of us should focus on this clause 12, because it is purely a individual teacher's purview about adding some component to the university given curriculum, dividing the curriculum as per mapping with outcome, deciding what are the outcome of every bit, every lecture, and according to that, using right method, strategy, technique, using various technological tools for effective learning to happen, then various assessment, etc. So, friends, this clause 12 is very important for individual teacher, and probably when NAC or NBA will come, what they will ask from, expect from every individual teacher will be the course file having this, what they have done in these 4 points, four cornerstones. And finally, you will find that all of us will be regulated under one common framework. Clause 12 clearly specifies about the framework of higher education qualifications. What does it mean? We are moving towards level based competency qualifications. We have got our own flexibility for curriculum pedagogy assessment, but everything will be governed under one national framework. So we are moving from local to global through national. For that, certain national level frameworks are provided. Everybody of us, whether we are located in Nagpur, Amravati, Mumbai, Pune, Chandigarh, Madras, or Chennai, or Delhi, or anywhere nationally, this framework is applicable for everybody. So that is how the academic bank of credit, etc., equivalency of credit, then taking education from various resources, that standardization is done through this framework. So this is the probably most important part of NEP for we the individual teachers, and all of us should be aware of these four cornerstones. You will find in this experiential learning, social engagement, and global standard. Those are the keywords. So, how engaging learning experiences can be given along with classroom? For that, various instruments are given. Now, let us come to the policy statement about education, higher education in NEP. Whatever we have discussed, now it is, you can say, narrowing down into exact what is to be implemented. Education should enable an individual. See here, word personalized learning, individualistic learning is clearly mentioned. Individual to study one or more specialized area of interest, manifestation of divine perfection. Those perfections means interest, passion, attribute already existing in individual. Of that, it should be taken to deep level. That is what is the concept of major. Also develop constitutional value, scientific temper, spirit of service, affective domain, and 21st century across multiple disciplines of science, social science, language, professional, technical, and vocational education. This is the summary of whatever we have discussed, given in this one para policy statement about holistic multidisciplinary education envisioned in this policy. So how the UG programs will be there as per NEP? There will be domains, all three domains: cognitive, psychomotor, affective. There will be certain learning areas of interest, what we call it as program. In that learning areas of interest, there will be discipline of interest, and under that discipline of interest, one of the discipline of interest will be taken into deep, that is major. Other multidisciplinary aspect will be minor. Interdisciplinary aspect will be open elective. 21st century capabilities courses will be vocational courses, professional courses, technical courses, ability courses. Then community engagement and service is integral part of higher education. No student will be able to get degree unless the student earns credit through community engagement and service. No teacher will get promotions or career advancement unless the teacher shows contribution in community engagement and service. The very existence of higher education institution, let it be university or college, is providing community engagement and service. The very definition of university and college is modified along with higher learning research, community engagement and service is made mandatory component. So this is also one of the vertical life skills, English, other languages and other. This is how various courses are provided to take care of multidisciplinary holistic definition, three domains and levels. Now, so these are the all verticals we know. Now we will finally focus for our first part on vision of experiential learning. Out of all these domains, etc., what is important for us, which is slightly new, and we should be aware, is community. This experiential learning is the mandate of NEP. So rote learning is to be replaced by learning experiences or experiential learning. And for that, what are the instruments provided by Ministry of Education, AICT and UGC? First and foremost is community engagement and service, field work, project, social innovations and research. The clause 9.1.3 of NEP clearly gives mandate to we the education provider is to make socially conscious, knowledgeable and such students who will provide robust solution to our own problem, and to understand our own problem, to understand our traditional knowledge and supplement it with our modern knowledge. What is expected that we provide, we you can say prepare solution providers. So this is what is given. So contributing to the society is the mandate given to us. The clause 10.3 clearly gives the definition of university or college. Who are we? Whether it is university or college, as per clause 10.3 of NEP, university or college will mean multidisciplinary institution of higher learning offering undergraduate graduate program with high quality teaching, research and community engagement and service. Earlier, the word community engagement and service was not there in the definition of university or college. Now, by extending the definition itself, the purpose, objective of existence of university of college is linked with community engagement and service. So from that perspective, we should look into this vertical and we have to see how can we do, because tomorrow when accountability of college or accountability of department or accountability of teacher will come, the questions about community engagement and service will be there. And if there is less work done in this area, they will say that you are not doing all three wings: quality teaching, research, and community engagement. All three equal weightage is to be given. And very clearly, the clause 11.8 of policy says all curricula will include credit-based courses and projects in community engagement and service. No student will get graduation or degree unless the credits from community engagement and services are earned. Very clear mandate. So it is not a choice. Community engagement service and credits through it, through its project, is mandatory. Now, to supplement this, guidelines are already given by Ministry of Education and UGC in the form of fostering social responsibility and community engagement in higher education institution in India 2.0. So, what should we do? How can we do it? What exactly is expected? We need not worry. Please refer to these guidelines. They clearly tells what is to be done in community engagement. What are the key principles given in this? You can say experiential learning through community engagement. That university wide, it will be in every faculty and every discipline. It is to be practiced along discipline and faculties, and this will educate the local communities as well as local technology knowledge will be also harnessed. So it is give and take. It's not that we go and teach community, we learn many things from community. The projects are made mandatory. The student will have to participate in field based experiential learning or project under supervision of some faculty. Now, how it is to be done, that guideline is to be done for social innovation by the student. There will be some group in the college led by some teacher. They will identify the local problems, and students are expected to take some projects which will give some social innovation project, but social impact and support of college is mandatory. So measurement of social impact is to be done. Even research with community knowledge. So they call it as CBPR, Research Community Based Participatory Project. In this approach, it will be a multidisciplinary, multi-faculty approach, and various faculty and program will have joint research project in partnership with community and local agencies. This is what is to be done through this, and for that, complete guidelines are given in that fostering social responsibility. You can say document how that coursework in first semester to be given, how survey should be done, what are very list of possible projects is given. All details as a guideline are given. So to begin with, we can take help of guidelines, and when we mature, then probably we can have our own methodologies also. But one point is sure, as along with other departments we have in colleges, possibly there will be one sort of cell or department requirement about community engagement and service. It will be multi-faculty, multidisciplinary, vertical. It may come appear in our organization chart of our institution itself, along with various departments. There will be one cell known as community engagement and service, and equal weightage has to be given on that activity. And for reference, please refer UGC document of fostering social responsibilities in higher education and community engagement and service. Now, second, you can say provision for experiential learning and integration of vocational education into academic education is, which is again a mandatory part, is about clause 16. The clause 16 of our policy, it is complete. One clause is devoted to this reimagining vocational education. And in this, internship, on job training, field work, vocational skillings, all provisions, how it should be done, that is also mentioned by AICT or UGC various documents. Now, the one of the main mandate of NEP is focus on skill-based education. So this is how the integration of vocational education with academic education is expected. Presently, we are more on academic education. Now, when we say NEP is implemented, means equal focus on skill-based education. So, integration of vocational education with general education and strengthening of industry academia collaboration is expected in this clause 16 of NEP. Now, for that, what are the instruments given? The instruments given are, I will directly go to guidelines for internship and research internship for undergraduate student. Again, in 2023, UGC had come out with guidelines on, see, both internship as well as research internship. So both types of internships are expected. This document clearly gives guideline how this internship is to be implemented. Objectives are very clearly given. The internship is to be done mainly at workplace. And for internship, it is also can be at any of the Gram Panchayat, Jilla Parishad, or you can say our Panchayat Raj system, or in research laboratories of our own colleges, adjoining colleges. So canvas is made wide open, because many times institutions come out, we have got large number of students, but opportunities for internships are less. So to overcome that, you will find that canvas is made very open. Government resolutions have been issued so that collectorate, nagarpalikas, महानगरपालिका, Jilla Parishad, all banks, they have been asked to engage students for giving them experiential learning through internship. So internship will be for two categories: for enhancing employability or for developing research aptitude. So both types, so we can identify the students of the right aptitude, and the internship is to be provided with two clear cut learning outcomes, either employability enhancement or developing research aptitude. The structure is also recommended in this document. It will should be in the area of interest or area of study, that is for major vertical whatever student has chosen. So it has to be in for major. And for colleges, they should have one nodal officer who will be responsible for need and demand led verticals as well as expectations from each vertical. Again, learning expectations that have to be very clearly mentioned for each vertical, and for that there will be one nodal officer as recommended by UGC. Then it should be involved, the internship will involve students from college, and it will be attached with some supervisor. So they are, along with nodal officer, there should be one internship supervisor and mentor from same HEI. And this internship should be time bound project. A group internship can also be given, and there should be mechanism of orientation of teachers and training of trainers or faculty on internship. So these are the some of the recommendations of internship policy of UGC. The internship has to be 2 to 4 credits, minimum of 120, 160 credit course for 3 year or 4 year degree program. So for 4 year degrees, there has to be internship of minimum 4 credits. And internships can be of 60 to 120 hours after fourth semester. So after, don't send student after first or second or third semester for internship. As per the policy, internship should be preferably after fourth semester, and for 2 hours of internship. One, when we will go to credit, that time also it will be clear. 2 hours internship will enable student to earn 1 credit. So 30 hours internship will, you can say, in a semester will make student to earn 1 credit. So if it is 4 credit internship, then 120 hours of internship will be there. What are the activities and suggested duration as per this policy? Say for 3 year program, it should be preferably after fourth semester. For 4 year program, it should be preferably during 8th semester. Duration for 4 year program should be complete 1 semester, and for 3 years program up to 120 hours. And credits will be 8 to 10 for 4 year and 2 to 4 for 3 year program. And what are the activities, that is also very clearly given in this policy. So we have to very, just like syllabi, we have to design, you can say, schedule for internship, because ultimately assessment is also to be done. So expected learning outcomes, scheduling of activity, and finally assessment and duration, those will be essential component when we prepare any internship program as per policy. Next is apprenticeship. So I will draw attention about, now presently AICT has also come out with very good document, and you can say program, that is known as AEDP. Earlier UGC had come out with AEDP. Now AICT has also come out for technical institutions AEDP, apprenticeship embedded degree program. Friends, it is the flagship program of union government as well as state government. Government pays up to 8 to 10,000 rupees per month stipend to the students who opt for apprenticeship embedded degree program. So government is focusing, insisting on universities and colleges to enroll maximum students for AEDP program. So we, the teacher, must be aware of this program. So I am showing you UGC guidelines. Exactly similar guidelines have been issued now by AICT also in 2025. UGC had come out in 2024. AICT has come out with 2025. So let us understand the provisions of AEDP. Now, obviously, the objective is to bridge the gap between what is taught in the class and what is required by the industry. So it is a completely experiential learning focused program to bridge the gap between institution and industry requirement. The condition here is apprenticeship is necessarily to be done at the workplace. This is how it differs from internship. It has to be done with the workplace only. Now it has been, you can say, enrolled under provision of Apprenticeship Act of 1961. Through this act, every apprenticee gets stipend. So government and the industry both give amount, and which comes out to be about 8 to 10,000 rupees per month, or say almost 3 months or 6 months, whatever may be the duration of apprenticeship. Important part is those who are graduating apprenticeship embedded degree program are equivalent to any other degree program. They are eligible to take admission in masters and PhD's program like any other degree program. So AEDP graduates and other graduates are already made equivalent and at par with each other as far as progression is concerned. But apprenticeship and stipend makes student more employable than internship or anything. Now, which institutions are eligible to offer AEDB? Minimum valid basic accreditation by NAC or NBA is means those who are not NAC accredited, or not by a program is not accredited by NBA, that institution will not be able to offer AEDP. But requirement is basic. Only fundamentally, I think most of the institutions, particularly engineering institutions, are now NAC accredited. About implementation part, it has to be done at workplace only. It will not require any separate nomenclature, no separate approvals of sanctioned from AICT or government. Existing running program, some students can be converted into AEDP. All norms rules applicable to regular UG are also applicable to AEDP. So it is made very simple, no separate nomenclature, no separate permissions, no separate GRs and no separate affiliations, nothing separate. Whomsoever is admitted, out of that, a interested group can be converted into this AEDP. Objectives are very clear. Once there are conditions that during first semester ADP cannot be taken, and last semester should be generally completely dedicated for ADP. So whole one semester, 8 semester, student will go for ADP as envisioned in internship also. And apprenticeship can be scheduled continuously or in intervals also. Now, next, experiential learning is provision of professional practice. So, either give experiential learning to the student or bring experiences to the classroom. So, there are many areas which we cannot give to the students. Say, for example, fire hazards of industry. We cannot really explain. We cannot, from many times it is not part of syllabi also. Say legal or statutory compliances required by every engineer or professional working in industry. There are various statutory requirements for every industry to follow. Probably in our curriculum we are not able to provide. There are certain industrial practices, best practices, or mandatory practices. Probably we are not able to give those experiences to our student in the classroom. To overcome such gap, we have to identify what is required by student when they become a professional. See, we have to prepare student for their future work role. So what are requirement of future job roles and what we cannot provide through our curriculum? To meet that gap, the provision is invite working professionals to the classroom and make their experiences available. So this is what is the scheme of professor of practice. So complete guidelines are given by AICT, complete guidelines are given by UGCs. So we have to just understand what are our expectations. Those should be very clearly conveyed to the identified professional. AICT also had a scheme of sending professionals at their cost. Let us apply to AICT. In wherever I am working in engineering colleges, we are able to get professionals given by, you can say, supported by AICT. Wonderful professionals come to the college at AICT's cost, and this is how we can bridge the gap. So my request is, please refer to UGC guidelines, please refer to AICT guidelines, and ensure that our institutions in our own department, we are able to get some professors of practice. AICT permits calculation of those number of POPs in student faculty ratio also. So that advantage also we get. And last part in our experiential learning is introduction of skill-based courses and micro credentials and SOP. So UGC has, even AICT has every approval letter writes in the bottom that AICT approved institutions are permitted to run short-term vocational and skill courses. So along with our approval, this running of vocational skill courses is permanently approved by them. The procedure is given, find out the global skill gaps through global skill gap report, do the skill gap analysis. The UGC clearly says that in coming 3 years, 85 million jobs are likely to be lost because those skills will be redundant. But 97 new million jobs will come with requiring new skills. And upgrading those skills for upcoming new jobs, if we go on providing old skills, then our student will go into this 85 million figure jobless. If we provide updated skills, our students will be there in 97 million group having many job opportunity. So for that clear cut UGC and AICT guidelines are given, how the skill development curriculum is to be developed, how many credits, minimum 12 credits, maximum 30 credits, how many hours will contribute, how many credit, which are the focus areas given by AICT calls it emerging areas, UGC calls it focus areas. So areas are also given. We know that sector skill councils courses are given. So we have to find out in our area for our student what are the opportunities in these focus areas, find out the courses from, you can say, sector skill councils, provide 3 months to 6 months skilling courses of 12 to 30 credits. Only we have to inform university, students will be able to get those credits in vocational skill enhancement courses or some practical courses of our regular courses. So that is a part, it becomes a part of curriculum, and we have got liberty, that much autonomy to select the courses as per our expertise and requirement. Similarly, life skills courses, that is also another important skill courses mandatory for every student, because third affinitive component will come through these life skills Jivan Kaushalya courses. The guidelines and curriculum are provided for these life skills courses such as thinking skills, social skills, emotional skills, safety skills, financial skills. So please go through this document, select those skills, and at our individual college level also we can impart. So clearly guidelines about course, modules, how many hours, how many credits, how to teach, how to assess, those things are already given in the guidelines by UGC and AICT. So with this, may I give a small assignment, because expected learning outcome of understanding and implementing various experiential learning instruments was our expected outcome. May I give small assignment to ascertain attainment of those outcome? Please submit it to your coordinator only. What are potential opportunities such as industry, banking, insurance, agriculture, agro-business, government, Jilla Parishad, Panchayat, local government, semi-government for internship in our own area? Can we identify those opportunities? Can we suggest mechanism of internship such as mentor, some organizational structure, supervisor, duration, schedule, most important assessment, evaluation of our internship? Can you make 2 page, you can say, small guideline for our own program, your own department? Regarding apprenticeship, can you identify apprenticeship embedded program for your own program? Can you suggest a method? How will you select a group of students? How will you select establishment? And how will you implement that AEDP for your own program as per AICT guidelines or UGC guideline? AICT UGC guidelines are very clearly available how to implement it. Now, if using those guidelines, if I want to implement for my own program, can I do it? Please try to do it. And finally, for professor of practice, can you find the gap between curriculum and actual practices in real world of your own program? Say, for example, legal compliances required for establishment, which we never teach. Fire hazards, if fire hazards happen, how to mitigate fire hazards in process industry. Probably we don't have anything about that. So similarly, best practices, human resource practices in industry. So there are many things which we do not able to impart in our curriculum. Can we identify those things? And if we are able to identify the gap, can we identify some professional around us who can fill that gap? Please try to this. If we are able to do this, in my opinion, we will be able to implement whatever is expected in experiential learning, and that is what accreditation, NBO and NAC will be looking towards us when next cycle of accreditation will come, because NEP gives lot of stress on experiential learning and learning experiences. AICT UGC has made many provisions and given various instruments, guidelines. Now it is up to us to implement, and definitely next cycle of accreditation, they will be focusing on this parameter along with all other. So are we prepared? So if I am able to create awareness, probably we will say yes, we will be able to face it. Now here, with the permission of ma'am, let us stop for 5 minutes, tea break, and after 5 minutes we will reassemble and start our next part 3 and part 4. Is it okay, ma'am? Coordinators, should we wait break for 5 minutes? Anybody? Anybody from colleges? Is there anybody on the? Looks like there are 75 people, but
Yes, sir.
nobody.
Yes,
Should
sir.
we break? Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yes,
Should we
sir.
break for
Yes, sir.
5 minutes? Yeah, we break. Thank you. Thank you.